What if the key to fluency in English isn't in a book, a classroom, or even a teacher, but in your dreams? Have you ever wondered why some people seem to pick up English effortlessly while others struggle for years? What if your brain was learning even when you were asleep? Meet Riya, a 22-year-old girl from a small village in South India. Her world was quiet, filled with the rustle of trees and the distant hum of old radio songs. She had never stepped out of her hometown, never met a foreigner, and never had a proper English teacher. But she had a dream, a strange, persistent one. Every night, she found herself in a dream where she was speaking fluent English. No stammering, no fear. Just flowing words like music. But when she woke up, the fluency disappeared like mist in morning sunlight. Why? Why could she speak so confidently in her dream, but not in real life? Have you ever felt like your mind knows more than your mouth can say? One evening, frustrated by her struggles, Riya stumbled upon an online story, a spoken English story, just like this one. She didn't understand everything, but something about the voice, the rhythm, and the emotions pulled her in. She listened, again and again. And then, something magical began to happen. The secret power of listening before sleep. Your subconscious mind never sleeps. When you listen to English stories before going to bed, your conscious brain may shut down, but your subconscious stays active, absorbing language patterns, emotions, and pronunciation without pressure. That's what Riya did. Every night, she played one story, not to memorize, not to analyze, just to listen. Within a week, her dreams changed. Now she wasn't just speaking English in dreams, she was remembering exact sentences from the stories she heard. And slowly, those sentences started slipping into her real conversations too. What if you made your sleep your classroom? Have you ever had a dream in English? What did you say in it? Do you believe your brain can learn without you realizing it? Pause for a moment. What if your biggest English breakthrough is just one story away? Why English stories? Work, science plus soul. Listening to stories is like watering a plant. It doesn't show results overnight, but roots are growing deep within. Stories give you natural sentence structures without grammar rules, emotional memory, you remember what you feel, subconscious learning, especially while relaxed or asleep, confidence through repetition without boredom. When you hear someone live a story in English, you live it too. Through their struggles, their hope, their courage. Your mind mimics, and soon, your tongue follows. Input shapes output. If you want to speak fluently, flood your brain with spoken English. But not just random videos, stories that make you feel something. Just like Riya did. Imagine this. You listen to 10 stories while relaxing or before sleep. No effort, no grammar, no pressure. And one day, you speak a sentence you never practiced. Where did it come from? It came from the seed you planted in sleep. If this story made you think, comment below. What is your biggest motivation to learn English? Is it your dream job, a life abroad, confidence? Let's share and inspire each other. And don't forget to subscribe to Epic English Stories, where dreams and fluency come together. Do you believe your dreams can be your teachers? Riya didn't. Not at first. But after a few nights of listening to English stories before bed, she noticed something strange. Her dreams began to repeat words, expressions, even emotions she had heard in the stories. One night, she dreamed of walking through an airport, confidently speaking English with a flight attendant. She woke up breathless. Did I just use the word boarding pass and perfectly? She smiled. Something inside her had shifted. That morning, she did something different. She grabbed an old notebook and wrote, Dream number 1. I said, Where is gate number 3? Every night after that, she wrote what she remembered. sometimes just fragments. I said, I'm looking for the bus stop. I told someone, thank you for helping me. I ordered food in a restaurant. She called it her dream diary, and each entry became a tiny step toward fluency. Now, question for viewers. What if you started writing your dreams in English, even if they're broken or silly? Could your dreams become your classroom? The power of passive listening. Many English learners believe they have to study hard. But what if your brain is wired to absorb through immersion, not effort? Think about this. How did you learn your first language? Did you read textbooks as a baby? No. You listened, you observed, you mimicked, and you trusted your brain to do the work. That's what Riya was doing now. Every night she'd listen to one new English story. No translation, no dictionary, just trust. She didn't try to understand every word. She just allowed her mind to absorb. Soon, her pronunciation improved. Not because she practiced speaking, but because her ears' avijars got smarter. Why stories before sleep work so well? Your brain is most relaxed before sleep, perfect for language absorption. Emotions in stories create stronger memories than grammar rules. The repetition of voice patterns creates muscle memory for your mouth. Think of it this way. Grammar teaches your brain. Stories train your ears and tongue. Have you ever heard a sentence in your dream that you never practiced? What would happen if you filled your mind with only beautiful spoken English before sleep for just 30 days? Try it and tell us what changes. Riya didn't sit with grammar books. She didn't spend hours repeating vocabulary. She just listened to stories and wrote what she dreamed. Her dream diary became her English notebook. Not perfect, not complete, but real. Example entry from Riya's diary. I told someone, I'm not from here, but I'm learning. I don't know where that came from, but I'm proud of me. This became her favorite sentence. She whispered it to herself every morning like a magic spell. If this story inspires you, write one English sentence you'd love to say in your dreams. Comment it below. Let your imagination guide your fluency. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to Epic English Stories, where we turn your dreams into your most powerful English lessons. Have you ever been comforted by a voice you've never seen? One rainy night, the power went out in Riya's village. The room was pitch black. No lights, no distractions, just silence and the soft sound of raindrops on her window. She picked up her phone, 20% battery left. No YouTube, no internet. But she had one thing saved, an English story she had downloaded the night before. She put on her headphones and pressed play. It was a story about a boy who wanted to learn English to help his mother find a job. He failed, struggled, and cried, but he never gave up. In the end, he gave a speech in English in front of a large crowd. His mother cried. The crowd clapped. Riya cried too. In the dark, with nothing but the voice in her ears, something cracked open inside her. She whispered, if he can do it, so can I. Have you ever cried while listening to an English story? Why do stories touch us deeper than textbooks? Could it be that emotion is the real teacher? How emotion drives language learning. Here's something powerful. We remember what makes us feel. You may forget grammar rules, but you'll never forget the story that made you cry, smile, or feel hope. That's why stories work so well. They sneak English into your soul, not just your mind. Riya didn't just learn words. She learned feelings in English. She could now say, I'm proud of you, and feel it. She could say, I'm scared, and mean it. That's fluency. Not just speaking, but expressing. Why listening alone works, even in darkness. Some people think you need to speak English all the time to improve. But that's not the full truth. You speak better when you listen more. Just like babies don't speak for the first year, they listen. Riya was doing the same. She was listening in her dreams. She was listening in darkness. And the voice in the dark became her teacher, her friend, and her strength. Now, question for viewers. Have you ever felt less lonely just by hearing someone tell a story? How many hours a week are you just listening to English without pressure? You're doing great. Don't give up. You could repeat it 10 times. Or you could hear it once from a story where a boy helps his sister walk again. Which one will stay in your heart longer? You already know the answer. Example from Riya's dream that night. The man told me, "It's okay to be afraid, just don't stop walking." She woke up and wrote, "This is what I needed to hear." That sentence became her fuel. What's the most emotional English sentence you've ever heard? Comment it below. Let's build a wall of inspiring phrases together. And if you want to fill your nights with powerful stories like this, hit that subscribe button on Epic English Stories because your next dream could change your life. Do you believe your thoughts shape your language? Riya used to believe she was bad at English. She told herself that every time she hesitated, forgot a word, or mispronounced something. But one night, something unexpected happened in her dream. She was standing in front of a group of people, and someone asked her, "Are you good at English?" She smiled and said, "I'm getting better every day." She woke up shocked. That wasn't something she would normally say. It was too confident, but the words stuck with her like a soft echo in her heart. "I'm getting better every day." She whispered it again. "I'm getting better every day." It became her new belief, a new mental script, and that's when everything changed. What do you tell yourself about your English every day? Do you say, "I can't do it"? Or do you say, "I'm improving"? Because whatever you repeat becomes your reality. Your brain believes what you repeat. Riya started to notice that many of the thoughts she repeated to herself, "I'm not smart. My accent is terrible. I always forget words," were the exact reasons she was afraid to speak. But the stories she was listening to at night had characters who said different things. "I'm learning." "Mistakes help me grow." "I'm not perfect, but I'm brave." Those sentences slowly became Riya's inner voice, not just in dreams, but in real life. Because what you listen to repeatedly becomes your inner language. The hidden influence of storytelling on thought patterns. Psychologists call it neuro-linguistic programming. We call it Isampans, story power. When you listen to positive, emotionally charged stories every night, your brain starts to replace old beliefs with new ones. Adopt the language of growth, not fear. Rewire its emotional connection to English. That's why listening to motivational English stories isn't just about words, it's about identity. Riya no longer called herself bad at English. She called herself a learner. She spoke with more joy, less shame. What's one negative sentence you've been repeating to yourself in English? Can you replace it with something more empowering? Starting tonight. Riya's fluency wasn't built by memorizing vocabulary. It was built by changing the way she spoke to herself. Example from Riya's notebook. She wrote 2 columns. Negative thought. New thought. I'll never be fluent. I'm becoming more fluent every day. My English is embarrassing. Every mistake is proof I'm trying. I'm too slow. I'm learning at my own speed. She read it every morning. And every night, she listened to stories that repeated these truths. Tell us in the comments. What is one sentence you will start saying to yourself every day to boost your English journey? Let's inspire each other with powerful inner voices. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Epic English Stories, because the stories you hear today will become the confidence you speak tomorrow. One evening, Riya listened to a story called The Girl on the Train before bed. It was about a shy girl who learned English just by talking to herself every morning during her commute. The girl in the story would say things like, "Good morning, seatmate. Today I'm feeling hopeful. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?" Simple, repetitive, but powerful. That night, Riya had a dream. She was on a train. Across from her sat a girl, quiet, kind, curious. The girl smiled and asked, "Why do you want to learn English?" Riya replied, "Because I want to connect. I want the world to hear me." She didn't stutter. She didn't hesitate. It was smooth, flowing, natural. She woke up with tears in her eyes. It wasn't just a dream. It was a conversation with her subconscious. Have you ever spoken English perfectly in your dream, even though you're nervous in real life? What if your dreams are trying to show you what's already inside you? The brain practices while you sleep. When you fall asleep after hearing English stories, your mind doesn't shut down. It replays, it rehearses, it rewires. It's called sleep consolidation. Researchers have proven that what you hear before bed gets stored deeper. And when your sleep is emotional or imaginative, like when you dream about conversations, it's even more powerful. Think of it like this: your conscious mind studies, your subconscious mind absorbs. And when you listen to English stories before sleep, your subconscious starts practicing conversations for you. The mirror practice meets sleep mode. The next morning, Riya tried something new. She stood in front of her mirror and repeated the same conversation from her dream. "Why do you want to learn English?" "Because I want to connect. I want the world to hear me." Her voice was shaky at first, but as she repeated it, it became stronger. Every day, she added one new line from her dreams. Her mirror became her stage. Her reflection became her audience. Her subconscious became her scriptwriter. Have you ever tried repeating a dream conversation out loud in the morning? What if you let your dreams become your speaking practice? Try it tomorrow. Speak to the mirror. Just one sentence. Riya used to wait for the perfect moment to speak English. Now she created those moments, starting in her dreams. She realized something magical. The mind that dreams fluently can eventually speak fluently, if you trust it. Example: she dreamed of helping a lost tourist in her town. In the dream, she said, "I'll show you the way. Follow me." Next morning, she walked to the mirror, smiled, and said the same sentence out loud. That one sentence gave her confidence for the entire day. Tell us in the comments, what's one English sentence you've ever dreamed or wish to dream? Share it, practice it, believe in it. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe to Epic English Stories. Because every night you listen, your mind gets closer to fluency. One quiet Sunday morning, Raya sat at her desk, opened a notebook, and wrote 5 words. I was speaking in English. That was the only thing she remembered from her dream. But that sentence felt alive, like a seed waiting to grow. From that day, she started a new habit: the English Dream Journal. Every morning, right after waking up, before touching her phone, before brushing her teeth, she'd sit down and write anything she could remember from her dreams, especially if it involved English. Even just a phrase, a feeling, a word. He said, "Don't worry, you're doing fine." I couldn't understand the teacher's accent, but I asked her to repeat. I told someone, "I've always wanted to travel." These fragments, so small and random, slowly began forming patterns. And Riya started to notice something extraordinary. Her dream language was becoming her waking language. Why journaling dream English works? There are 2 powerful reasons. 1. It makes your subconscious language visible. Dreams are the rawest form of fluency. No fear, no thinking, just expression. 2. It helps your brain reconnect dream memory with real life practice. Writing down dream phrases activates and anchors them. Every time Riya wrote a sentence from her dream, she felt a spark. It was like her dream self was guiding her, from dream fragments to real dialogue. One night, Riya dreamed she was ordering coffee in English. Can I have a cappuccino with almond milk, please? Sure. Would you like sugar? Just one cube, thank you. She wrote it all in her journal the next morning. Then she practiced it in front of the mirror. Then she practiced it at her local tea stall. Yes, in real life. And 1 month later, during a trip to the city, she ordered coffee in a cafe exactly as she had dreamed. The moment was small, but inside, she felt 10 feet tall. Ria's journal wasn't just for memories, it became her speaking script. Every line she wrote became a line she practiced, and every practiced line brought her closer to confidence. Example. One day, her dream had this phrase, "This is just the beginning." She wrote it down, then she said it 10 times aloud. Later that week, when someone asked her, "How's your English going?" she smiled and said, "This is just the beginning." And they smiled back. Do you keep a journal? Would you start writing down your English dream fragments? Try it tonight and tell us in the comments. What's one English sentence you'd love to find in your dream? Then hit subscribe to Epic English Stories because your dreams are trying to teach you. All you have to do is listen. Do you know there's a school that never sleeps? It has no blackboard, no homework, no bells, but it teaches you something valuable every night. Riya discovered this school without even trying. She didn't need to enroll, she just needed to listen right before bed. That's when the lessons began. She started calling it the night school of the mind. It began with a habit. Every night before sleeping, she played a 15-minute English story. Sometimes it was about courage, sometimes it was about failure, sometimes it was just a simple love story. But what she didn't realize was her brain was attending class even while she slept. What if you could attend a powerful English class without opening a book, without taking a test, and without even being awake? Would you sign up? Guess what? You already have. Every night, your brain becomes your classroom. But what lessons are you feeding it? How the night school works. Here's what science says. While you sleep, your hippocampus, memory center, and neocortex, learning center, become active. They replay memories, reorganize language, strengthen what you've learned during the day. If you feed them music, they process rhythm. If you feed them fear, they process worry. But if you feed them stories in English, they start building fluency. Every night, Riya listened to a story. Her brain absorbed sentence structures, familiarized itself with pronunciation, practiced intonation in dreams, connected emotions to words. And because she was relaxed, it went deeper than conscious study ever could. Progress without pressure. Here's the best part. There were no grades, no comparison, no fear of making mistakes. Riya's night school was gentle, kind, and encouraging. One night, the character in the story said, "Mistakes are just signs that you're moving." That line appeared in her dream. And later, she wrote it in her English journal. It became her daily mantra. She even began saying it to her friends who were learning English. Don't be scared of mistakes, they mean you're alive and learning. That's when Riya realized something. The more she listened, the more she became a storyteller herself. Riya didn't become fluent by force. She became fluent by exposure, by emotion, by consistency, and by trusting her night school. Example. After 3 weeks of listening to bedtime English stories, she began understanding new expressions without a dictionary. Phrases like, "It hit me like a wave." "I froze in silence." "He had fire in his eyes." They used to confuse her. Now they made perfect sense because she heard them used in context with emotion night after night. That's the power of stories. They teach not just language, but feeling. Have you ever frozen in front of people, unable to say a word in English? That fear, the shaking hands, the dry mouth, the racing heart, it's real. Ria had felt it too. But one night, something strange happened. She dreamed she was on a stage, a giant auditorium, hundreds of people staring at her. In the dream, she almost panicked. But then, she heard a voice from within her dream self. You've practiced this. You've said it in your mirror. You've dreamed this before. And suddenly, she began speaking. Clear, confident, calm. She woke up sweating, but smiling. It was just a dream. But it felt like her fear had cracked. The science of rehearsal dreams. Psychologists call them simulation dreams. Your brain creates scenarios where you practice things you're afraid of, like public speaking, interviews, or conversations in English. And here's the beautiful part: the fear is real, but the risk is not. So your mind feels the challenge with you, without the shame. It's safe to fail in a dream, and yet you still grow. Ria had several of these dreams: giving a speech at school, talking to a tourist, teaching someone English herself. Each time, her dream self felt nervous, but did it anyway. And slowly, those dream victories became daytime courage, from night fear to day confidence. After that powerful dream on stage, Ria decided to take a bold step. She volunteered for a group discussion at her English club. Not to speak perfectly, not to impress, just to show up and speak. She used phrases she'd heard in dreams and bedtime stories. I believe everyone has a voice. It's okay to be nervous. We're all learning. To her surprise, people clapped. Not because she was perfect, but because she was genuine. Are you waiting to feel ready before you speak? What if readiness comes after you speak? And what if your dreams are already building that readiness? Dreams aren't fantasy, they're rehearsal rooms. If you win in your dreams often enough, your mind starts believing you can win in real life too. Example: Ria once dreamed she corrected someone's grammar gently. I think you meant has gone, not have gone. In real life, she never dared to correct anyone. But one day, a friend asked for help, and Ria, remembering that dream, calmly corrected her, just like she had practiced. It was a small moment, but a huge shift in confidence. And if you believe your dreams are helping you grow, then hit subscribe to Epic English Stories, because fear fades faster when you turn your sleep into a classroom. Can a dream talk to you like a teacher? Ria once believed dreams were random, just a blur of images and feelings. But what happened one night changed everything. She was sitting in a classroom in her dream. There was a chalkboard in front. An old woman stood there with kind eyes and a soft voice. She wrote something on the board. Language is not memory. It is emotion. The woman turned to her and said, Stop trying to remember words. Start feeling them. Ria blinked. The dream ended. But those words stayed with her, like a message from the universe. That sentence haunted her in a beautiful way. Language is not memory. It is emotion. She began thinking about it during the day. When she heard someone say, I'm so proud of you, she didn't just translate it. She felt the warmth. When she heard, I'm not sure I can do this, she didn't just understand the words. She felt the hesitation, the vulnerability. And this changed how she practiced. Instead of memorizing word lists, she listened to conversations, films, audiobooks, anything with emotion. She focused on how things were said, not just what was said. Ria realized something profound. We remember stories because they make us feel. We forget lessons that only make us think. That's why English stories, especially before sleep, work. They carry emotions, and emotion locks the learning into your long-term memory. She started crying during a story one night. It was about a boy who lost his mother but kept a letter from her that said, "Every time you speak from your heart, I hear you." That line stayed with her. She whispered it the next day. "Every time you speak from your heart, I hear you." And she realized this was real English, not textbook, not robotic, but human, honest, powerful. That mysterious dream teacher was right. Fluency is not built from memory. It's built from moments. Moments that move you. Moments that connect you. Example. Riya once used the phrase, "You matter to me," in a text to her friend, because she had heard it in a bedtime story the night before. Her friend cried, not because of the vocabulary, but because of the emotion. That's fluency. How do you know you've become fluent in English? Is it when you understand every word of a movie? Is it when you speak without hesitation? Or is it something else? Something deeper? For Riya, it wasn't a test score. It wasn't a certificate. It was a moment. One that arrived without warning. The day her dream came true. Riya was walking through a book fair in her hometown. There was a small stage with a sign, "Open mic, speak your story." Dozens of people stood watching. Some were reading poetry, some were sharing life stories. She wasn't planning to go up. But suddenly, her legs moved. She felt like she was in a dream again. She walked onto the stage, took the mic, paused, and then said, in clear, confident English, "I want to tell you a story. A story about how I used my sleep to learn a language I once feared." The crowd leaned in. She told them about the voice in her dreams, the stories she heard before bed, the fears she faced at night, the words that once confused her, now flowing from her lips. By the time she finished, the crowd was silent, then applauded. It wasn't perfect English, but it was real, fluent in emotion, fluent in courage, fluent in expression. She had awakened not just from sleep, but from fear. Don't underestimate the power of small habits. The story you play tonight before bed might be the story you live tomorrow. Riya didn't wait for perfect conditions. She turned her rest into practice, her dreams into training, and her sleep into a secret superpower. Example. When she finally spoke in public, it wasn't from a classroom lesson. It was from a sentence she'd heard in a dream. "The words will come when your heart is ready." And they did. Final powerful quote. Success is not something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming the person who deserves it. And Riya had become that person through the quiet commitment of listening every night, letting the language soak into her soul. Dear viewers, now it's your turn. Let this be more than just a story. Let it be the beginning of your journey. Tonight, play one English story before you sleep. Let it flow into your dreams. Do it again tomorrow. And again. Until one day, the voice in your dream becomes your voice. What's your biggest motivation for learning English? Is it to travel, to inspire, to speak freely? Comment below and share your dream. And if this story made you feel something, then make this a habit. Hit subscribe to Epic English Stories. Because fluency doesn't happen in a day. It happens night by night, story by story. Until one day, you wake up speaking the life you once only dreamed of.